How can you repurpose your Instagram photo posts like this to create video content for YouTube Shorts or TikTok like this?
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Well, stick around because in this video, we're going to do just that. The tools we're going to use are Google Sheets, ChatGPT, and Google Drive. We'll also use ElevenLabs for the voiceover, but I'll show some alternatives to ElevenLabs if that's not really your vibe. We're going to create the videos using Shotstack, and of course, we're going to automate the whole thing with make.com so you can just set it and forget it. So if you're looking to streamline your content creation process, repurpose some of your static content into videos, and have it completely on autopilot, then grab your coffee or your drink of choice and meet me at the computer. Okay, here we are at the Podorable Finds Instagram account. You can see that I have videos and these images, and they're just quotes, right? So if we scroll down, you can see, and this is what we're going to repurpose, are these quotes into videos, because they don't really work so well on YouTube or whatever. We went through this process in another video. So what's good is that I already have the baseline content for these in a Google Sheet. So we're going to go over to this Google Sheet. Here it is, the Google Sheet on which those posts are based. So what I'm going to do is just create this new tab. I'm going to rename it so that it's just easier for me to find, because we're going to be using this in another automation. Sorry, it's hard to type and think at the same time. There we go. And I'm just going to take this first column, copy it, and paste it over here. Perfect. And then what I'll do is I'll add a couple of more columns here specifically. So for YouTube, so it's YouTube caption. We could do this for TikTok, whatever. I've also got some videos, some video name, which is going to be important to feed into an automation as well. And I've got those from Pixels, and then ElevenLabs we're going to use for the voiceover. I'm just going to make this, they're all the same. Just kind of format this. Go. Format this. So in another video as well, we went through automating, getting some of these videos and images from Pixels, but we don't need to automate that. I've already got a little bit of a library of those, so I'm going to use that. Actually, I'm just going to rename this to Pixels for the video link. What we're going to need as well is a download link. Unlike, there we go, we've got 61, because we're not going to count this first one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the first 31. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, and I'll have ChatGPT generate these YouTube captions. So I don't have a fancy prompt. I'll just type it in. So you are an expert social media content writer with demonstrated experience in generating YouTube captions. So again, you don't need to have anything that go viral. So you don't need to really go into anything too grand on this. Please generate YouTube captions for the following dog quotes. Please provide the output in a chart. So because I want this just to be in a chart format, makes it a lot easier. And there they all are. And it just makes it a lot easier to copy and paste it back into your Google Sheet. Now this is pretty low risk, so we'll just kind of let this bake. This is pretty low risk in terms of, what we're just going to let it run with, because we're not talking about facts. Like say if it was tips on dog health, that would be higher risk, because I wouldn't want to put anything out there that could mislead folks. This is just, warm, fuzzy kind of quotes. They all look pretty good, just kind of on first glance. But in case ChatGPT makes a mistake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy both the quote and the caption so that I'm sure that they all kind of, there we go, and just paste it here. And of course, the formatting is gone. Anybody who's ever worked with me or whatever, they know that I get a little, there we go, I get a little bit OCD with the formatting. We're just going to go to the next batch just to kind of finish this whole thing off. Why not? It only takes a second because now that we're in the same chat, we can just ask ChatGPT to do the same. Yeah, so can you generate more captions for these? So now we're just going to paste, and there we go, and just let it bake. All right, so there we have them, and we're going to just copy these and put them over into our Google Sheet as well, and do the same thing. We're just going to copy the whole thing and paste it over what we already have there. And I'm going to fix the formatting because I can't not fix the formatting. Just wrap the text. There we go. Now it's a little bit different. I don't really mind with URLs, which is weird, but so the video name, now here in my drive, I got this folder with the Pixels videos, like I've got about 10. So I'm going to just do a screen capture of this. So I don't have to manually type these. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT, type it out. Here's a screenshot of a Google Drive folder. Can you please generate the names of the files? These here. And then I'm just going to Control V. There we go. And ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has vision, it can do this for me. So saves me the time. Now I'm going to need these names for a, and we can just kind of eyeball and see they are, yeah. There's only 10. I could automate this, put this as part of the automation, but it's absolutely not necessary as far as lifting the videos from Pexels. And the bottom right there in Microsoft Excel, that would be called a fill handle. This acts the same way. If you just hover over it and double click, it'll automatically populate all the way down the page. So the Pexels URL, what I'm going to do is go back into that Google Drive and lift the URL based on this name. And then we've got one for ElevenLabs. Now, ElevenLabs, we're going to have to automate this. So we're here we are in make.com, so we can automate this whole process. All right, so I'm going to, for the first time, I'm actually going to rename this scenario dog quotes video remix. Why not? It's on the remix, right? I'm going to click a quick save. So we're going to start with our increment, and this is going to be important, and you'll see why next. So never is fine. We're just going to go next. Simple. The next one is going to be our Google Sheet. So the same Google Sheet we just saw, and we're going to search rows, and this is just going to set it up so that it knows where to look. And we're going to choose our dog sayings is the name of the sheet. The new sheet name contains headers, yes. Column range, A to Z, Z because I'm Canadian. And no filter, but we're going to order this by the row number. There we go. And the field type is a number, which is fine. And then the limit we're going to set to 1. You just want this to run one at a time. All right, there we go. Next, so this is where we're going to get our download links for the Pexels video. So we're going to go ahead into Google Sheets again. We're going to get a cell. There it is. Get a cell because we need to get that name. So the spreadsheet ID, it's going to be that the same one. It's the dog sayings right there. The sheet name is going to be the video. And then the cell, we can see just even on the left here what cell number it is. So it's the video name. It's cell C. And this, we can go back to the increment to pick up the number, right? So which row number it is. So we're going to get that cell. That's the name of the video. So now what we want to do is go into Google Drive to lift that and get that like download link or web content link, right? So we've got, it's in my drive, which is fine. You don't have to worry about anything else. So choose the folder. I actually have it in a Pexels videos folder. And what we want is a file. And we're going to search by search within file folder names. And then the query is just going to be the results of the last module there, and limit 1. I'm just going to do 1 at a time. Okay, there we go. So now we can get that, and that's going to be based on here. So we're going to just rename this so that just to keep it all easy to remember. So I'm going to say that this is the Pexels video name. So that's what this, because we're going to use a couple of different ones. Actually, Pexels. I want to say Pexels because I just think pictures and pixels, not Pexels. So anyway, next what we're going to do is we're going to update the row with this URL. So we're going to go back into the spreadsheet ID. Now I could copy the spreadsheet ID from the thing, but we'll just go through this process so that we remember how to do it. So the dog quotes video. So the row number, right? That's what's going across. It's going to be from the increment. So that's why I like using that. And then the value, we've got the Pexels URL. And so from here, we're going to go to this Google Drive module and we're going to click on the web content link. And that's what will go in there. So we just click on that, boom, and there we go. And then we just kind of click and okay. Why is that? Oh, there we go. Okay, the 1 went away. Actually, we want to do the ElevenLabs. So I'm going to add a module in here because we can update this whole thing with the ElevenLabs. So it's okay if you forget modules. We can add them in. It's not a big deal. So the spreadsheet ID, so we're going to get a cell. This is for the ElevenLabs. And this is going to be, yeah, see, I can just clone this one. It makes life a little bit easier. I'm going to rename it so I don't have to start from scratch. Because it's fundamentally doing the same thing. We're just pulling from a different cell. So instead of this, I'll do the ElevenLabs. You can skip this step because we will have an alternative where you don't even need ElevenLabs. You don't need a voice thing because Shotstack has that available within it. But if you want to follow along, if you do have an ElevenLabs account and you want to use your own voice, ElevenLabs is the easiest way. We can add a module here, and this is going to be the ElevenLabs. So I'll just search for it. ElevenLabs, and it's going to be create a speech synthesis. Now I've already went in there and did that. So you need to add your connection. So to add a connection, we'll just kind of go over to ElevenLabs really quickly. You can see this is mine and I have my own voice, but in the lower left-hand corner, now in order to generate your own voice, you do have to have a pay account. Here you can see API keys. So if you have a paid account, great. Create an API key. Just click on that and then you just want to name it and you can click create. You may not want to have that name, but whatever. So that's all it is. And then when you're in your connection, you just put your API key there. That's it. It's really, really simple. So if you want to use your own voice, which I do. So if you scroll right to the bottom, I can see cloned Nicole. That's me as my voice. So the model we're going to use is 11 Turbo V2. The text, what we're going to do is the value from the previous cell, right? Because that was just for the ElevenLabs. The stability. So this is how much inflection you want. So 1 is the max, so it has to be between 0 and 1. I'm going to say 0.8 because I still want it to have a bit of inflection and not be super monotone. And similarity boost, I want it to sound like me. So I'm going to keep that right to the max, which is 1. If you're not bothered, you can, have it go down a little bit lower. And then we're just going to say normal optimization. These videos are only going to be a few seconds, as you've seen in the opening. So there we go. And then what we can do is now upload that into Google Drive, right? Because we're going to need to have the actual file. So we're going to upload the file into Google Drive, and it's going to be this ElevenLabs Creative Speech Synthesis. The folder ID, I'm going to select from a list because I do have a folder just for this. So I would recommend creating that folder. And then I've got ElevenLabs right here for dog quotes. And so there it is right there. It's empty. Obviously, I've got nothing in there right now. So we'll just minimize that. ElevenLabs current create a speech synthesis is just automatically mapped. So we can click OK. I don't know why that has a 2 there. Everything's fine. Sometimes it gets glitchy, you know. I'm going to just click that auto align so it looks better. And now I can update the row with this ElevenLabs URL. So right there, I'm going to go to the previous Google Drive, this upload a file. And again, I need to have this web content link, which is what I'll put into, we'll update the Google Sheet with. So there we go. Now, we've got everything here. Pexels, the ElevenLabs, we're getting this file, we're getting that file. And they're in two different Google Drive folders. So I want to rename them so that I remember which one is which. So this is the ElevenLabs folder. Click that OK. And then we've got this one, which I'm going to rename. You just right click on the module. And I'm going to call this one the Pexels folder. And we're going to click OK. So now we know which is which. Just easier to keep track of everything. There we go. I'm going to pop a quick save. Good idea. There we go. Now keep in mind, once we run this, if we just let this go at 1, that's going to be the header row. So we're going to right click this and we're going to run that module only. So now we've got the header row gone. That's number 1. So now we can run it again to hit through to row 2. And I feel like I forgot something here. In the ElevenLabs, what we did is we cloned Pexels, right? I'm going to need to change this cell because it was, I'm going to change this to A. There we go, because that was a clone and I forgot to change the cell that it's recalling. So now it's all set up. Okay. So pop a quick save on here. We've already run that once. So now we can just click a run once and let this go through so we can update our Google Sheet. So we're going to need all of this. Oh, so if we go into, so there's the ElevenLabs. Let's take a listen, shall we?
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Sounds just like me. It is my voice clone, so it should. Now we're going to take a look at these. Here we go. This URL, do we have it? Let's take a look. I could watch puppy videos like this all day. I don't know about you. Oh, I love it. So there we go. Now what we're going to do, perfect. So now we're going to go into Shotstack. So we're going to, based on all of this, we're going to build our template. So just to take a look, you can start for free and it's very generous to start with. Pay as you go is 30 cents per minute. It is a one-time, it's pretty hefty. And the monthly is a bit high. However, if you don't need to use ElevenLabs, whatever, this is pretty good. And I did do the research personally because, you know, I need to save money too. And when I looked at comparing this to JSON to video or to some of the other solutions out there, this was the most cost effective and it has the most generous free starter plan. So there you go. So we're going to just go into the templates once you've logged in. We're going to do mobile video. So that will give us this size. You can go into the settings. There we go. I'm going to show you JSON because what I'm going to have here is the JSON file for the template when I'm done. So this is it. You can copy paste. If you are a developer, if you're a coder, if you understand JSON, you can even write your own code or overwrite some of the elements in here. I am not. I know just enough to be dangerous though. So to get started, what we're going to do is I've got some audio already in here because I do use this. There, just click on it. It goes onto the timeline here. And yeah, that's going to be the audio I'll use for the background sound. And keep in mind, if we look on the left-hand side, the timing, I don't want this to go the full length. So if we click the 1, 2, 3, look at that, 87 seconds. No, thank you. We're going to change that to 6. These quotes are really, they should take maybe 4 or 5 seconds max. And instead of 1 being the max volume, I'm going to pop that down to like a 0.1. Like I just want it low in the background, like just some ambient music, as it were. Right? So that's it. This is going to be our anchor for the time and everything else. We don't need animations, obviously. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to add in some branding. So the Podorable Finds. Now, if I just kind of click on the logo itself, it'll add this to the thing. And now I can click end because it's anchored to the sound we just locked in. So you can see that it's just kind of what it does is it crops it to this shape, but no, we don't want that. Over here, you can change this to contain. So it's contained within the boundaries of this shape, right? From here, you can resize, you can do all of the things like, oops, maybe not to 0. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can pop this up. The whole point here is that there's several ways that you can go about this. You can use this little thing to kind of eyeball it and move it up and down. You can drag the edges to make it bigger or smaller. You can just type over the number as well. That's the same with your X and Y values. You can, like drag it around. You can use these numbers. Oh, that one got stuck for some reason. Let's just pop that down to 0. 0 is centered, obviously, X and Y. So if you think of your X and Y coordinates on a graph, as it were, Y, I'm going to pop that up because I want it to move up. There we go. And you can drag it. You can just grab it like that and drag it if you want. Really depends on the level of precision you want. And the opacity, I'm going to just have this more like, pop it right down. It's really hard to see on here because it's a white background, but I just want it more or less like a watermark, But at least so you can have your branding, you can do that. So now we've got kind of the fundamental elements. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add videos, the video of the puppy running video that makes me smile. Now we've got our URL. So we're going to go into the Google Sheet and we can just kind of grab this URL and we're going to copy it and paste it there. And you don't have to do this. I'm doing this so that I can sort of see it. I just want to see how it renders and how it looks. So there, it's going to fetch it, processing, and then it's going to upload here. And it's right there. It just takes a second sometimes, right? So you can just kind of click on it. And I'm going to, again, change the timing to be end, not auto. So right down there, see at the bottom here where the timing is, I'm going to change this to end, and it's going to anchor again to that sound, the 6 seconds. So it doesn't matter how long your video clip is. I mean, if it's shorter, it doesn't work as well. It'll just slow it down. But you could have a really long video. In other words, it'll only clip 6 seconds. And you can start it wherever. Now, for the voice, you can go into this AI section and click on text to voice. So you don't need ElevenLabs. This is already baked in here. All of this, as far as the text, etc. Now, I went through this in a previous video as well, where I did use the AI voice here. And you can change the voice that you want. And you can change the text, and it can be very dynamic. Same sort of thing. But we're going to use our ElevenLabs audio. But if you don't have ElevenLabs, you don't want to use it, that's fine. You can use this. It'll be baked right into Shotstack. So for me, I'm going to go into this audio in the media settings, and I'm going to copy my ElevenLabs link. Okay. And then again, you just click a link that's next to the upload. I'm going to paste the URL right there. And then the same kind of thing, I'll just upload it and it will process it for us. And again, I'm doing this so that I've got the placeholder so I can see what it all looks like together. There we go. And I just click on it, add it. Now I can play.
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Perfect. Now I'm going to move that a little bit so that it doesn't start right off at the jump, So I might like pop that over maybe 3/4 of a second, like almost a full second. So yeah, 0.75, so that it waits a beat, We can leave this as auto because most of these are going to be fine. Click stop. Go.
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Yeah, that's better. I like that it doesn't just kind of jump out at you. So if you click that stop, it'll just automatically reset to the beginning. There we go. So that's great. Now the last thing we want is the text overlay, which is the quote. Now what I'm going to use, you've got all of these different fonts, but there's more. These are just some of the font families. There are so many fonts that you can choose from. You want to decide if it's headline, subtitle, paragraph. I'm going to use the headline because it's nice and big and it's just a quote. It's not a huge amount of text that's going to be used. So if you just scroll through here, as an example, I'm just going to scroll a little bit. Look at that. Look at that. And I'm not even halfway through the scrolly line here. So you can choose whatever you want. I'm just going to stick with this Montserrat Extra Bold, and these are default. But what you can do too is you can add and upload your own font style if that's what you want as well, which is kind of cool. Now the color, black, I'm not really digging for this, but you can go into your different the color wheel here and figure out what color you want. If you're not sure, you can just kind of pick like this, or you can put in this RGB, the RGB values if you have like colors that you want to keep with your brand. You can move this around in this kind of there. That kind of stands out for me. You can also create, yeah, that's fine, just so that you can see it, especially depending on the type of background that you have. If it's a black background typically, or if it's going to be lighter videos, etc. I like this color because I think it works for both dark and light backgrounds. Now the stroke here is that has to do with the outline. So you can change the color there if you want to have an outline, and you can just, again, same thing. You can put in RGB or just use black, whatever. That's fine. And you can have a bit of a background if you wish for it. I'm not going to for this. You can drag this up and down, but you can see the sides are a little bit too wide. So here in the size and position, I'm going to pop this down to maybe 750 to see if that fits in there, because it's just way too wide. 750 is still a bit wide, so maybe pop that down to 700. And again, you can just change these numbers there. It fits, actually contains perfectly, doesn't it? And I'm going to make the height a little bit bigger because we're going to have several lines for some of these quotes. So I just want to make sure that it fits, and I want to be able to position this properly so that all the text sort of fits, right? So we can just play around with all of these things. That's the whole idea here, is that you can, now you know where to find that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the animations, or sorry, I'm going to go into the quote here. I'm going to add the quote first so that I can kind of see the space that I'm working with. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and pop this in. There we go, just there. That looks really good, but I think I need to pop it down a little bit further. So again, with our X, Y coordinates, right? So the X is fine, it's perfectly centered, but I'm going to want to bring this down, and I can just kind of drag it. So there we go. Now in the animations, I want this, we don't want the words to actually move. It's just how does it pop into and out of frame. I like the fade dissolve, but you can do carousel sliding and all of that kind of stuff. I'll use that. So for the in and slow, and then I'm going to do the same for out, right? So that's just in, but you click here, you can see there's in or out. So I'll click on the out, and I'm going to have it fade out as well. And I'll do that slowly. but you can do normal, slow, fast. So you could just kind of animate all of this so that it sort of pops in and pops out. So let's give it a play.
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Now, I know that looks a little bit glitchy. That's only because it's in here and there's a lot going on. So sometimes you may find that it's a little bit slow to kind of process, but what we can do is we can go through the processing pieces just to see how it turns out. But we'll do that once we've added in all of our merge fields. So I just wanted to kind of set this up so I can see how it looks. And then, but we definitely want to add in some of these merge fields here, so that it'll feed in and we can automate this using make.com. Okay. And one thing I did notice is that the watermark didn't actually show up. That's because it was behind our video file. So you can just move that up. See, these are layers, like layers on top of layers, right? So I'm going to just, there we go. Make sure that that opacity is fine. So we can just move it up or down. So it's layered on top of the video. And there we go. Yeah. So this is, it looks like it's all pretty good. Just moving this over so that we can look at the merge fields, because now we're set. Now we've got everything all set up. Go. And where will we start? We can start with the video itself. Why not? You know, it's going to look, that's just saving. It's just kind of in a bit of a save spin. It's okay. Don't worry about that. So here, I'm just going to type in, like, what do I want to call this merge field? And I'll call it my video. You can't have any spaces, so that you need to have that underscore. And then I just kind of click in here. I'm going to copy and paste the URL again, because that's what we really want. And this is just a placeholder. It doesn't mean that this is going to be in every single video. It's just the placeholder, so that when we generate the thing, it's going to look like preview unavailable, right? This is really just a placeholder so that when we're generating a preview, we can get it to work. Now for this, we're going to create the merge field, and you'll see what I mean. So this merge field, we're going to add it, and it's going to be the quote. We'll just call it quote. And then we'll just copy and paste that text over here. There we go. And now when we go into this merge field, what we need to use are double curly brackets. So just, there we go. Just move that over a bit so you can see. Now, if we do double curly bracket open, that's what it looks like on the screen, right? But if we type in quote, as soon as we close these double curly brackets, see, there you go. That's the placeholder that's going in there. So every time we run this as an automation, it'll just auto-populate, auto-populate, auto-populate for each line. And that's what a merge field is. So text works that way. Now for the audio, like for media, you have to use that little double curly bracket there. And I'm just going to take this ElevenLabs URL as well. And that's going to be for the second audio file. So that's going to be the voiceover. So I'll copy that, go in here, paste it just right there. Just that's because it's only a placeholder. And then we're going to say my underscore voice, because the underscore, of course, because you can't have a space here. Okay, so that's going to be the merge field there. And then if we click on the voice, see the little double curly brackets? You just click on that and click on my voice. I've already did the same for the video. There's the merge field right there. Okay, so now you've got your merge fields set. And that's really the last step in all of this. As far as the video, we're going to make some connections as well. Now, what we're going to do is do a quick preview to see how it all comes together now that we've got our merge fields done, etc. So there's queued and fetching, and it'll start to render it. So rendering, saving, and then we'll see this soon. If you find this video to be helpful, it would help me out a whole lot if you would hit that subscribe button and, of course, the bell icon so you don't miss future videos. Give it a second to buffer. It does take a second sometimes. And we'll...
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
Yeah, and it's still kind of buffering a little bit, and that's fine because that's just the first initial render with everything all set together. So one thing that we're going to want to do as well, this kind of we want to definitely rename this, just so it's easier to find. We don't want to have a bunch of untitled. Quotes for YouTube. There we go. Dot quotes for YouTube. That makes a little bit more sense. And then what we can do over here is there's take a look at the JSON. So this is what I'll have in the, linked in the description below, is this JSON code so that you can just kind of copy and paste it into Shotstack and you've got it. Those are some of the placeholders that the values that we put in. I will make sure that that's highlighted and give you instructions on how to kind of change that up. But you can copy this and paste it into this JSON section. So you've got it all. Now there we go. I'm going to go into the connection. So one thing you can do, which is really cool here, is Google Drive. You can connect that. I believe I covered that in my last video on this. And you can also connect your TikTok. It's so simple to do as well. So now this will automatically go to TikTok and will automatically go to Google Drive. So these, as soon as it's rendered, you're done. So we're going to just click on a quick save. And now you're going to have your template. So if you go back, just click on the logo there. My templates, there it is. So now we can create our own automation to fully automate this. So here we go. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to actually just automate this because these are the same videos over and over again. And so I can copy those down using that fill handle trick again. And then I really only have to do these ElevenLabs as we go in the actual video creation automation. So what I'm going to do, here's a trick. I'm just going to, I only really want to go as far as there. And I can take out these ElevenLabs. So I'm going to just unlink here. I'm going to unlink. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep that. I'm just going to clone this one. I'm going to clone that guy. Move it down. And then if you hold down Shift and then select all of these, you click on the modules, you can just move the whole thing. Kind of cool. And then I'm going to add this Google Sheet at the end. Now, obviously, we don't have the ElevenLabs connected anymore, so we just want to take out this content link for ElevenLabs. Boom. There it goes. Okay. Now it's all set. And then what we'll do is we're going to generate this. We're going to just run this through 9 more times because, we only have 10 videos. So we're already at 1, and one's already run. So let's just reset it. Doesn't matter if we overwrite this first one. There we go. Oh, no, we could just go through. Yeah, we've already got 1. And there we go. We can just run this a bunch of times. Now I could change that to 10 or whatever, but it's only 10. It's not a big deal. So I run through all of these each time, and then now I've got all of them. So I did run through a bunch of them already. And now what we can do is just I'll just shift down, 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 down. And now we can just click on that fill handle again, double click it, and it'll fill all the way through. So now we've got all of those videos. We don't have to worry about having to do that step in our automation again. So what I'll do is now I can unlink these two, or actually that whole set, and I'll just shift select all of them. Then what I can do is right click on that and delete all the modules. And now I'm just going to connect this ElevenLabs module over here. And then I can click my auto align right there. And there we go. So now as far as this automation is concerned, I just have to do that. I can actually from here delete that because I don't need the Pexels URL anymore because we got rid of those modules. And now I can actually build out the workflow from here. So we're going to reset this again. We're going to say after 1 cycle, right click and run this module only because we would be starting from 10. So let's not do that. And then we're going to change this back to never. Okay. right click and run this module only. So now if we run this module again, we'll be starting not from the header row, but from row 2, exactly what we want. Okay, so now we're all set up. We've got our ElevenLabs input, ElevenLabs, the speech. We're going to have that uploaded to our Google Drive, and then we can update our Google Sheet with that URL. Okay, so then our Google Sheet will be ready to feed into our Shotstack template. So there we go. Now we are going to add in here. Let's see, where is this? We're going to get a range of values. And the reason why we want to get I'm just going to type in get a range of values, because we want basically everything from one row to feed into Shotstack. Here we go. We're going to get that, the dog sayings, and the sheet name, of course, the dog quotes video, which we have here. The range is going to be from A, right? From A to E, right there. That's all we really have, but we need the number, the row number, which is going to come from the increment value. So when this runs again, it's going to be 2, isn't it? 2E, and then the increment value again. So this is, it's really just that one row from that to that. Now, if you're not sure, if you think this is going to be building even further, then you can add in as many columns as you want. We're just going to click OK. So now we've got this range of values, and that is what's going to inform the Shotstack template. So we're going to render from a template with our Shotstack. You need to create your Shotstack connection. Again, I did that in a previous video. Your dog quotes for YouTube is the template, right? So the quote is from this range of values, isn't it? So now we know that the quote is in column A. So we're just going to click A. The My Voice is going to be from column E. This is the last one. If you're not sure, you can scroll down and you can see the names of them. And then the My Video is D. So those were all of the merge values that we did, right? There we go. We're going to click OK. So unfortunately, my video started to clunk out. So what we have here is really just the steps that got cut out, but we're going to review this in the next bit, but we're putting this to sleep. We're going to get a render status and then put in a router, but we will see this in the next little bit here. So hang tight. So now we've got this router. So we're going to have 3 different scenarios basically. So if it fails, if it is kind of still waiting, or if it's done. So once we get the render status. So Google Drive, because Shotstack, we've connected that. It's already going to go into our Google Drive. So what we're going to do here is we're going to update a file. So we're just going to rename it basically. So the file ID is going to be from this Google Drive. So this is what Shotstack's already putting in there. So we've got the file ID from there. The new updated file name, we can call it whatever we want, but I'm just going to pull this right down to there. So it's going to be just the increment number. So we just have numbered files basically. And then click OK. So now we've got a new file name. It's just going to be easier to find. So then what we're going to do is we're going to download that file. So it'll be easier to find. That's optional. Enter the file ID. And we're going to go back to the previous Google Drive module, and we're just going to say file ID again. Okay, because that's all we want to do is just download it, because we're going to need to have the actual physical file for YouTube, right? And so now what we can do from here, now that we've got it downloaded, we can upload a video to YouTube. So we're going to upload this right there. And this, here we go. It's not going to be the ElevenLabs. It's going to be, so the title, we'll call it, we'll just scroll down again. So many modules and they're big. We'll just call it like what the quote is, I think. There. We'll just call it from there. And then we're not going to be the ElevenLabs. Obviously, it's going to be the download a file. The video category, so this is going to be pets and animals. Privacy status, it's up to you. I'm going to just go public because these ones, again, are low risk. And then the description, it's going to be way back here. There we go. The description is going to be this B column, right? Because those were the what we had ChatGPT generate. Is a video made for kids? Now, of course, you can only have 5,000 characters. We have way less than that. Is a video made for kids? No, it's pretty good. It's a good idea to have that. I don't know why I've got a 2 there. Let's just double check to see if anything's missing. Sometimes, again, it just kind of glitches. Click OK. There, we're good. And then we're going to move this into another folder, right? We want to get that out of we want to have them filed away properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to move, not to trash, we're just going to move it. And I've also got in my drive, I've got a file ID that's going to be, sorry, not the file, we've got a folder. The file ID is going to come from this previous Google Drive, so that file ID in my drive. So the new folder location, I actually have a new folder that I've created just for this. The dog quotes with ElevenLabs. So that's a whole folder that I have already. Then we're going to click OK. So here it is, dog quotes with ElevenLabs. So that's just another one. So that just so that I have them there and they're not just messing up in my main folder. So here we go. Now, see, I'm going to use my same trick. I'm going to pop a quick save. It's a good idea. And I'm going to copy those up to the top here. So this is basically if Shotstack hasn't finished rendering, I put a little, that's a timer for another, I put it to sleep. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add in, this is basically the same as kind of the steps we missed. We've got this ID, the render ID, okay. And now what we can do is we can add in another router similar to what we did in the 2 steps before that I missed. Flow control. Now what I can do is we can say what's going to happen. So we put in a little filter. So if you right click right on these bars, you can set up your filter. So this one I'm going to call it completed. Because then I can copy those modules from below. I can just clone them. So if it is completed, so sometimes the render, it takes a little longer to render. And if that's the case, we put another sleep function in there. So the condition is that the status is done. So if the status is done, it's going to go this way. If it's not, it's going to filter to a different way. So basically after 5 minutes of waiting, if it's not done, then forget it. So we do the shift copy, or shift drag, and then I'm going to right click and copy. And then I can paste right there. And now what I can do now, since they still have the little dots kind of around it, whatever, there. If I click out of it, then they're no longer selected. So I can now connect that and the filter stays the same. So it's not a big deal. So now we've got what would have happened here, right? I'm going to auto align that again. And now what we can do, so if it isn't done, we're going to, this here, update a row. I'm going to clone it. This is basically saying, okay, if that still doesn't work, then it's done. I'm going to just delete that. And I'm just going to update this like it just can't be done. And that's really all of that module says. So there we go. Now this whole workflow, what I'm going to do, or run, I'm going to have this in the description below as well. So you'll have this full thing in the description below linked. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do, we are going to now run this. So now we have our Google Sheet search rows, ElevenLabs input to generate the ElevenLabs voiceover. We're going to take that file and upload it to our Google Drive into this folder right here. My ElevenLabs for dog quotes. There we go. And that's the the voice that because we already ran it once. It already went in there. Google Sheets, update a row. Right, so this is it here. We're going to update the row. I did add in a render status. There we go. Which didn't get filmed, unfortunately. We're going to get the range of values as we put in so that will feed into the Shotstack video template. We've put it to sleep for a few minutes. We've put in 120 or 180 seconds for 3 minutes so that it can render. Then we're looking for the render status. So based on that is these 3 routes. So it's either going to go to sleep, like again, it's going to just not render, or we're going to post it right away. Now, obviously, and that's when we do the download the file and then we put it into YouTube and then we move the file into a different folder, right? And that is going to be, we've got too many folders, I think. Dog quotes with ElevenLabs. So there we go. It's going to go into there. Now here we are on the Podorable Finds YouTube channel. So you can see all of these videos. These were also in the Instagram account. But these were from the previous Shotstack template that we created before. That was all created by AI, 100% AI. So here we go. Now we're ready. It's game time. Let's do a quick save one more time so that we have it. We're going to click a run once and let this go. Here it goes. Here it goes. Oh, and this is going to go to sleep. So we'll just, through the magic of video editing, I'll pause. Now it's back. Okay. So we've stopped pausing and here we go. Now we've got, everything has run through, or so it seems. It looks like everything was fine and it went right directly to posting to YouTube. So here it is, the dog quotes with ElevenLabs. There's the video there. Let's go ahead and check out. Okay, so this is our YouTube. We're going to refresh. Did it show up? Looks like it. And now take a listen. Let's see.
A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today. A wagging tail is a language of love. Take a moment to listen today.
That's perfect, right? So there you go. You've got it all set up and you can run this on autopilot completely. And like I said, I'll have this in the description below. If you made it to the very end of that video, congratulations. I know it was a long one and there were a lot of steps that were involved. But once you have this set up, again, it's going to be completely on autopilot and you don't have to think about it again. Now, just to let you in on a little secret, I was actually considering breaking this video up into 2 distinct parts, but I thought that it might be more valuable if you saw it all in one shot. Could you do me a favor and leave me a comment? Let me know if you would have preferred this in 2 parts. So the first part looking at the setup and then the second part being the video template creation and automation. That would just really help me out so that I know for future how I should break up or create some of these videos for you. And if you haven't done so already, it really does help my channel out. It helps me to create more of this type of content if you do hit that subscribe button, if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, making it to the end. Until next time, happy automating.